Israel is an American stronghold in the Middle East.
It is absolutely.
And that is the reason why it's funded so heavily. Now,
more than that, the reason it's funded so heavily is because Christian fundamentalists here believe that Jewish people need to be in the Holy Land or Jesus won't come back. More than anything else, those other things.
You think that's it?
That's absolutely the primary thing.
I've never heard that before.
You have never. Well, you should.
Christians feel that Jews should be in the Holy Land.
No, they don't believe that Jesus will come back unless Jesus.
I thought Jesus already did come back.
No, well, that depends on what.
Jesus got Easter, right? He came back.
Listen,
he's coming back again.
He's
doing an encore.
I have. Jesus doing a curtain call. No, you ain't getting me killed, but I think here's the thing that I find ironic. If you look at the Maori people in New Zealand, right? They lived there 30,000 years before there's any contact with Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
The Native American lived here 30,000 years before there was contact with Europeans.
Yeah.
The Sand people of South Africa lived in those places for 40 or 50,000 years before there was. But what happened was when those people from Europe came, they took their land from them, right? They told them they were assigned specific regions of the place that they had always had run of.
Mm-hmm.
When they fought back, they killed them, and they said that you are a threat to our society. Then they also said that this land wasn't viable until we came here. Right? Now, I can't say that Native Americans or the Maoris or the Sand people are like Palestine. I can't say that at all, the people of Palestine. I can say they're pretty goddamn familiar and pretty goddamn similar. Where I lived here, then you came, then you told me that I had no right to be here, and you used God and guns as a pretext.
Well, they were both living there. Jews and Palestinians were all in that region. It was a English colony at the time, and it was a headache for England.
Sure.
So they just, because there was already fighting going on after World War II, they finally just said, okay, y'all figure it out. The Jewish people end up kind of taking over. They went to the United Nations. The United Nations said that's fine. That became an Israeli homeland. And then all the Arab countries attacked them. And this is where I think Israel made the mistake, is they ended up winning that war and took over a ton of land.
Sure.
Israel was a tiny place to begin with. I think if Israel was very small, the way it was originally, I don't think anyone would really have a huge problem with. But the fact that they took over Syrian land, they took over some land from Jordan, which I think they gave back at one point, and so forth. Like, Syria's still mad about the land they lost. I think like the Golan Heights and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. And you have someone in power, Netanyahu, whose brother died to Palestinians, who has a grudge that he's never let go of. And he's always had these hardline politics, building in the West Bank, which I thought was always fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Israel's a huge place. I have traveled all around Israel. Tel Aviv is a thriving city. People think that Israel is some like rundown. No, it's a first world country.
No. And a military
It looks like Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? It looks like San Francisco in certain places. It looks like New York in certain places. It's not
technology,
like everything, internet, roads, everything. I remember going over the border from Israel to Egypt. I remember someone saying, like, look, you're going to see a big difference. Sure enough, you go over the border, dirt roads, everything is run down. It's a different place. It's not Israel. Now, the problem is that like Hamas doesn't recognize Israel as an actual sovereign country. They feel they're occupiers and refuse to talk to them. So any communication between Israel and Hamas has to be done through Palestine, through the Palestinian Authority.
Right.
So you have a problem. But I think ultimately the solution is give Palestine their state where they don't have to depend on Hamas. If you give them a better alternative to Hamas, Hamas will over time cease to exist.
I think that would require a couple of things. That they are human beings. That they're all human beings, entitled to the same right of self-determination as anybody else.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe, and I don't care who gets mad at me for saying this, that anybody is more human or have a bigger right to life or security than anybody else. The thing that I find amazing, if you look at the break, and what's also happening now is, for the first time in our history, young Jewish people that go to college now have a different estimation of what they think the government is doing in terms of their relationship to Palestine.
Yeah.
The United States of America is as favorable to the Palestinian view, Palestine view as they are today, but because they are seeing more and more images they can't reconcile. The thing that is consistent is no matter where you go, there need to be a lot of black or brown bodies before the rest of the European world goes, oh, this is horrible. You can't just have a few people die. You have to see it over and over again. It has to be undeniable and unassailable. To me, and the thing that galls me, Vlad, is if I say something about the Palestinian people or the Israeli people, they're like, well, you ain't talking about our community. I can hold in my head the idea that horrible shit happens here and horrible shit happens there. And one of the things black people do here is when something bad for us, we supplicate the world. We ask everybody to hear our struggle and what I'm gonna be human in my circumstances and somebody else's. And if they can't understand it, then I don't know what to fucking tell you. I am sad about the women and men that were kidnapped by Hamas.
Yeah.
I'm sad about that. I'm also sad about children dying in nurseries.
Yeah.
I don't think that there has to be a either or.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell me that the people that are dying that you didn't intend to kill are an acceptable equation. I don't believe it.
I agree, which is why when you saw me in the Breakfast Club, I'm like, look, Drake and DJ Khaled are the most popular Jewish and Palestinian humans on the planet. They should say something. I'm not saying to take a side, but you should say something. And shortly after, Drake made a statement.
Well, you know why? What does they say? Heavy is the head that rests the crown.
Yeah.
You were blessed with a voice where you could bring people together.
Right.
Music, no matter, is a universal language. Like math is a universal language. Like laughter and love are universal language. You can tell. Do you know who changed the world idea of the Vietnam struggle? It wasn't politicians. It was Muhammad Ali, an artist.
Well,
an athlete is artistry, so you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
It wasn't a politician.
I see where you're going with this. Okay.
It was.
But it was also the musicians. It was Woodstock. It was John Lennon.
Art changed the world.
Exactly.
Art.
Exactly.
Artist.
Right. Which annoys me because DJ Khaled, the artist who always said he is the son of a Palestinian shoemaker, hasn't said a goddamn word.
Well,
to this day.
I can only say this.
Pathetic, if you ask me.
I can't say what his motivations are or not. I can say this. I couldn't sleep with myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what your motivations are. I know this. I would not be watching people slaughtered wholesale. People being held against their will wholesale and not say anything.
Yeah.
And I think that to me, it means a certain thing. I can't tell you what it means.
No, listen, this is why my tweet about Drake and Khaled went viral. Like 5-6 million impressions and everything. And it got on their radar. I know it did, especially after the Breakfast Club appearance. And like I said, Drake said something right away. In fact, 40, I think, has Palestinian family. He said something even before then. Say something. You don't have to agree. You don't have to say one side is better than the other because both sides are fucked up right now.
Yes.
Both sides are wrong.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
100%.
But you know who isn't? Those children dying in nurseries.
Absolutely.
So the thing to me is,
yeah, it's fucked up. And Hamas is using the Palestinian people as human shields. They have underground tunnels underneath the hospitals and the schools.
But almost
they know what they're doing. It goes both ways. It's fucked up.
It is fucked up. But almost every time I hear that argument, when I hear a policeman, they kill somebody, and then I hear black people go, well, we kill people all the time. It's black on black crime. There are always ways that people make excuses for the people who are killing them to go, well, we do it. I think, to me, that is because you believe some people are more human or more deserving of life and more deserving of respect and deserving of empathy. I can look at the people that were kidnapped and feel nothing but sympathy and compassion for them. For the woman that were raped, and feel nothing but sympathy and compassion for them. And I can also do that with the people on the other side. It is when people decide that I can only cry for children or women that look like this or the other.
Yeah.
And I refuse, I can't say what anybody else does. I refuse. Before I was a black man, before I was a father, before I was a husband, before I was anything, I was a human being, and I refuse to not be one because it's inconvenient for people.
I agree.